Sure, you could go to Bali, like everyone else. But what if there's a place that offers great beaches, lush rice fields, rich culture and history, insanely good food, and a great nightlife too? And all that for the same or even less money? Well, that place exists, and it's called Hoi An. Curious now? Then stick with me and we're gonna explore this stunning little city in the center of Vietnam together.
Let's face it, the first thing that you always do when you rock up to a foreign country is finding a place to eat, finding breakfast probably on the morning after your flight. You're probably super jet lagged, you just want to have something good to eat. And on Bali, of course, you would just go next door and there would be a beautifully, nicely curated smoothie bowl restaurant. But we want to do something else since we're in Vietnam. We do something that's typically Vietnamese and we're going to go for banh mi for breakfast, but not just any banh mi. We're going to go for the most famous banh mi place there is in Vietnam, and that is banh mi. And it is famous because of Anthony Bourdain, famous TV chef, traveler, something like that. And he said that is the best banh mi he's ever had in Vietnam. This is the place we're going to check out now, get a banh mi for breakfast, and then see what else Hoi An has to offer. So I got the famous banh mi, and now we do a little taste test. Get to a place that is just a little quieter because those were so messy on that road right next to the shop. So we're here at the quiet place, little park, quiet for Vietnamese standards, and try out this banh mi and see what it is. It's chicken cheese, and yeah, let's just see, have a go. One first bite. It is really good, so it has all the flavors. It has the cream cheese, it has chicken, it has some green stuff, some red stuff, so there's a bit of chili in, but if you like spicy, then it's fine. Really good banh mi. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish this, and of course we're not done with food today. Because there's so many other places you can do. You can do khao lao noodles, which are famous here in Hoi An. You can do the bang seo. There's so many things, and I'm going to show you a couple of the food places, of course not all of them. But if you get here, you can make up your own mind of all the food places that this city offers.
Let's cover some of the drink section and discover egg coffee, one of Vietnam's specialties. One of the best egg coffees you can get is at Phin Coffee in a beautiful and mostly quiet atmosphere. Egg coffee is Vietnamese black coffee with egg yolk and sometimes a bit of coconut too, making it sweet and creamy.
So the thing with egg coffee is it's like really creamy and really thick and creamy, and that's because of the egg that's in it, the egg yolk. But yeah, it's a really interesting taste. But kind of really sweet, there's coconut in it as well, and then Vietnamese coffee itself has this really interesting taste that's very unusual. It's very different to, you know, coffee in my home country or any other coffee that I ever drank. But yeah, it's quite a nice stuff. Like I wouldn't need to drink it every day, like once enough in like a couple of days. But yeah, it's a good experience, so definitely try it out.
I checked out Hoi An's An Bang Beach for a short while before joining some of the people at my hostel for an interesting travel story.
Two guys next to me started to fuck someone.
No, two guys.
There was no
Like 2 guys
curtains.
together? Like it was a threesome or?
Other people. There were two friends and there were two girls next to each other.
That day ended in a rather relaxed fashion by the pool, as the next day became the first real exploration day.
Ticket? One ticket please. It's 150, right? So now that we have covered some of the good food of Hoi An, it's time for a bit of culture and heritage and history. And for that I've come to My Son Temple ruins, which are about a 1 hour scooter ride out of Hoi An. And that's actually Hindu temple ruins that I'm going to show you in a sec. And the cool thing about this is they were built like everything you're going to see in like a minute. Everything you're going to see from now is built without mortar. So it is temple ruins from the kingdom of Champa, from the Champa people that settled here between the 4th and the 13th century. And it's really interesting that they've got to build this all without using any mortar. And as you see that there's a lot of Hindu influence. Of course, it was Hindu influence. It's a really interesting site and we're gonna visit it now. It's just super packed because I got up late, but still, we'll make the best of it. I'm able to drone this place, gonna do a couple of cool photos and show you all around the site.
The Champa people back in their days were famous for their skills in brick production, enabling them to build these massive structures. The champa had Indian Hindu origins, making these temples stand out among the other Vietnamese and Chinese temples in the area. The site presents a vivid picture of spiritual and political life in an important phase of the history of Southeast Asia and has been recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Site. After a 2-ish hour-long stroll around, it was time to get back to Hoi An to explore some more amazing food.
So next food item on the list is Khao Lao noodles. That's Hoi An special. It's Chinese noodles. You get some beef or pork with it, some fresh stuff, some fresh green stuff, and a good sauce, super flavorful. And apparently we're going to one of the best Khao Lao places in Hoi An. I'm super excited, I haven't been there, so let's go. Over there it is, Khao Lao Bali. I'm probably butchering this again, but yeah, let's try that one out because it is quite tasty.
Here comes the Khao Lao food guide. Add chili sauce, pickled onions and soy sauce. Mix it all up until all flavors are combined. And then, if you're like me, shove it in like a pig in about 2 minutes.
So that was the Khao Lao feast and it was amazing. There's just something about Vietnamese food that's so good. It's so flavorful. It's almost always fresh. It's not always the same quality, but that one was really good. So I can well understand why people say this is the best Khao Lao probably in town. And maybe because it's a Hoi An specialty, maybe the best Khao Lao in all of Vietnam or the world. Another day in Hoi An, and today it's going to be something cultural after we did the history yesterday with the Mission temples, and today we're going to Marble Mountains, which is actually quite a nice place, like nature-wise, like big limestone cliffs, but also they have like a lot of Buddhist temples in caves. It's going to be amazing. I'm pretty sure I haven't been there, but want to check it out. Before that, just fueling up with a breakfast banh mi, and then we're good to go, get on the scoot and then off to Marble Mountains, which is right in between Da Nang and Hoi An. So let's go. Oh hell, what have I got myself into? There is a lot of tourists. Xin chào, one ticket?
The main cave of the Marble Mountains is definitely impressive, with lots of cave art and various other things to look at. However, it is very touristy, so I quickly found myself wanting to explore some of the parts that are less touristy, like the 2 main viewpoints on the Marble Mountains.
Alright, I think I finally found the way up to the highest viewpoint. Let's try. I tried like 3 different other ways and they all just didn't lead to the viewpoint. It was quite exhausting, but this one looks promising. At least it's very steep. It looks like it goes very high up. So yeah, hopefully in a couple of minutes we're gonna be at the top of the Marble Mountains. So apparently it is the right way, but it just got a lot steeper than I thought. My gosh, that's like a handful. But we keep on going to see the viewpoint at some point, eventually.
The viewpoint offers a great view over Da Nang, which is Vietnam's 3rd biggest city and only about a 30-minute drive away from Hoi An, offering some really nice beaches and, if needed, some big city vibes as well.
Done the Marble Mountains, just on the way back, which is the easy part, and then I think it's time for one more nice food item on the Hoi An food list, and that's going to be bang seo. Got quickly changed in the hostel and now we're back in Hoi An for the bang seo, or maybe bang seo. I'm not even sure whether I was pronouncing it right. However, we're going to the same restaurant because apparently they're not only good or very good at doing Khao Lao, apparently they're also very good at doing bang seo or bang seo. So we're getting the Vietnamese rice pancake and I'm super excited and also very hungry, so let's go.
Bang seo food guide incoming. Take a piece of rice paper that comes with the dish. Put a piece of bang seo on it, fill it with the various herbs and leaves that are provided, roll the bad boy up, dip it into the provided sauce and lose half of the ingredients. And again, if you're like me, eat it in the least sexy way possible.
So that was the bang seo and it's actually super tasty and a lot. So bang seo and the beer was 105k, which is really not that much. That's like about €4 for some really good food. And for now it's just time to get back to the hostel, chill out this evening and then off to something new tomorrow. I said previously that there is so much history and culture to cover in Hoi An, and the best way to do that is actually to do a walking tour, and you in fact can do paid walking tours or free walking tours, and this is what I opted for today, to bring you along on a little journey through Hoi An's history and all the different cultures that they have in Hoi An, because it's just a melting pot of different things. There's Japanese influences, there is Chinese influences, there is French influence, there's everything.
Blue, our guide, took all the time showing us around, giving us interesting insights into Hoi An's history as a ancient trading post, explained the background behind all the lanterns as well as the reason for the houses being all yellow, and walked us through some of the ancient houses that are still owned by the same families in their 8th or 9th generation even. You'll also learn a lot about Hoi An's unique character as a melting pot, and you'll be able to understand this city's character much more after one of these tours.
You're on it too now.
Hoi An is also famous for its tailor culture, so I teamed up with Milou, a volunteer from my hostel, for a little shopping trip.
This is the shop?
Yeah. I saw that
Sweet.
they have belts and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they
Oh, they do have belts.
This one is a good one. I feel like a real traveler right now. Me and buying burgers.
Yeah, you do. Maybe I'll get some weight at some point. So. Like this? Can we do like this? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
You're already preparing yourself for that you're gonna gain weight.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 31. You know, at some point it has to happen.
You're already preparing yourself for when I'm turning 50.
The last belt that I had, and I just forgot it back home. Otherwise, I would have had it here. I have it for 12 years now. I got it in Melbourne on my very first trip. I just had too much money, so I spent like 70 euros on a belt.
After a relaxed shopping/spa day, it was time for the last little adventure on my Hoi An trip.
So there's definitely one more highlight when you get to Hoi An that you have to do. It's about 30-40 kilometers away, about an hour's drive, and that is the Hoi An Pass, and we're just on the Hoi An Pass right now. Got myself a little bike, and look at this. I just had to stop here because this is freaking amazing. This is so good. So the Hoi An Pass became famous about a decade ago when the BBC series Top Gear had a Vietnam special, and Jeremy, the three presenters, Jeremy, Richard and James, they were doing the Hoi An Pass as part of their Vietnam Top Gear special series.
It's called the Hoi An Pass, and in this place, I had an epiphany.
I'm liking this.
And ever since, it's been this place where so many people wanted to come here. And it's only 22 kilometers of actual road that you can drive, so you'd be done in like 40 minutes. But you can stop along the way. There's plenty of cafes. There's one right up there, and then there's two more down there. And we didn't even get to the highest point. But yeah, it's just an amazing stretch of road. And there is nearly any downsides here, apart from visibility, not that good because it's Vietnam, so visibility, because of the air quality that is quite poor, is never really that good. And then also there is, best example coming up now, so fuel trucks like this one. Fuel trucks are not allowed to go into the tunnel that is going through these mountains here, so they all have to take the Hoi An Pass, but they're loaded up, they're quite heavy, so they are slow. Hey? So yeah, sometimes that can be a pain in the ass. You want to do the Hoi An Pass, you want to just like take these corners as fast as you can, and then you can't do it because there's fuel trucks there blocking your way. But still, there is a freaking amazing piece of road.
Don't be fooled, the Hoi An Pass is nothing like the Ha Giang Loop. It's not a multi-day drive, and the landscape isn't as breathtaking as on the loop. But it is an amazing day trip for everyone who likes motorbike riding, and a very welcome change to the endless bus journeys if you decide on driving from Hoi An to Hue or vice versa yourself rather than taking the bus. There are also plenty of motorbike rental companies in Hue or Hoi An that will offer you a one-way baggage service as well, so you can enjoy the Hoi An Pass as a day trip without needing to worry about your luggage. I stopped by the same cafe I did on my trip last year, enjoyed the view for a while, but eventually drove back to Hoi An as I had to pack my bags to leave Hoi An towards Kuala Lumpur. At last I had to check out of the amazing Cuckoo's Nest hostel, which I stayed in twice now, and it remains one of the best and maybe even the best hostel I have ever stayed in. I strongly recommend spending your time in Hoi An here if you search for a super social, super cozy hostel that offers plenty of opportunity to chat to other people without the downsides of a real party hostel. But everything eventually has to come to an end, and I had to catch my taxi to the airport, being all ready for 4 days in the Malaysian capital, Kuala Lumpur.
Good morning from Kuala Lumpur. Jesus, I'm like so lost. I have no idea where to go. Come back here, you see the lights on and the water diffuser turned on.